All right, here I am. I'm back to the trail after Mt Shasta. It's a fun little mountain town, really good gear shop. I got to do some repairs. I had this trekking pole wrist strap pop on me, so they had some accessory cord there. And I was able to make it temporarily work, and Black Diamond sent me some replacement ones, so that's great. That's all taken care of. I got some new pole tips. These were both busted, so got a lot of stuff done there. The main thing that's coming up is it's fire season. I'm in Northern California. There's new fires popping up every literal day. There's a big one that's been going on for 2 weeks called the Shelley Fire west of Etna that's got the trail closed. There's a new one that's only a couple days old called the Donamore Fire, which is so new there's not even good info on it. It's only been out for a couple days. It's last known to be about 45 acres right on the PCT at the Oregon border. So that's a bummer. Now there's another one that's north of Crater Lake that's called the Trail Fire that's getting big. Another one just popped up this morning by Highway 20 in the Northern Cascades, right towards the end of the trail. So that's got a whole 30-mile section closed. It's just crazy how fast they're popping up. Mentally taxing, to say the least. So my plan is to take each one step at a time. Whatever is happening now up north, I have no control over. It's going to be different by the time that I get there, for better or worse. So I'm tackling these things one at a time, or at least that's what I'm trying to do for my sanity. Currently, though, I'm on a different reroute for logging stuff. So I'm doing a very short, like 5-mile alternate that for a closed section of trail. So that's currently the plan. This is the far side of that short closure. So I'm back on the PCT. The alternate is definitely necessary. I didn't realize I was already there this morning, and there was chainsaws and trees falling within sight of where the PCT is closed. So definitely not a good time to not know about the reroute. There's signs everywhere, and that's what turned me around. But anyway, this reroute is really well marked and very easy. But now I'm officially back up on the PCT. So I'm into the climb, rising back up onto the ridge, but I'm at a really beautiful spot. I could see these rock formations from quite a ways back on the trail, but now I'm kind of in them, which is really cool. And it's a bummer for all the folks that decided just to jump ahead that they don't get to experience this, because this is particularly beautiful. Most of the way up the climb for the day, but I got a really good look back at the really pretty rock range and the forest that I've been in. I might be willing to go as far as to say that where I'm standing right now is what I consider the most beautiful part of Northern California so far. Beautiful, thick, green, non-burnt woods with Mt Shasta. And right now I'm on a ridge that's getting narrower. Might be able to see there's some lakes down there. And then here you can see obviously rows of mountains. There's dragonflies flying around eating mosquitoes everywhere. And then I get this really kind of neat ridge walk. So I get basically like 270-degree beautiful views. And so many people are skipping this. I've mentioned a couple times that people are skipping this section, and the reason for that is because the PCTA was suggesting that folks could shuttle from Mt Shasta all the way up to Ashland, Oregon. And the reason for that is because of the Shelley Fire and the Donamore Fire, and most people were doing that. They were skipping 250 miles of the PCT and just driving on the highway to Oregon. Good morning on my 63rd day, which is Friday, July 19th. This was home last night right here. It's a nice, flat, comfy spot. Some very active deer moving around that woke me up multiple times. I was pretty confident they were deer because I saw a deer sneaking through before I even fell asleep. So I had a flat pillow when I woke up in the middle of the night, and I blew it back up, and then I had a flat pillow this morning when I woke up. And I found that I can blow the pillow up and then close the valve and put the valve by my ear and squeeze, and I can hear air coming out of the valve. So I don't think I can patch a hole. I think it's actually the valve. So I'm going to try to give an emo a call when I have some service, which should be within a couple miles. since I'm going up, and see if they can help me out. And if not, I'll just replace the pillow because I have had it for the entire CDT and over half the PCT. So I do feel like I've gotten my money out of it, but it is still a bummer. I thought there was wind chimes in the trees, and I was walking around looking all over the place until I finally figured out it's just cowbells. Well, the sun's getting closer to setting. You can see the moon is coming up, but what I really wanted to try to catch were these dragonflies. They are hunting something fierce. And by that I mean they're eating bugs, but they're good at it and it's fun to watch them. I guess I got my video going a little too late. They were all just right up in this nice big spot here, and you could just see them swooping and just eating tons of bugs. I thought it was really neat. Anyway, I just got to see my first bear of the trip, so that's pretty awesome. It was maybe a quarter mile back. Little guy, probably an adolescent. And when it saw me and I saw it and we made eye contact, that thing bolted like I've never seen one move that fast before. It was really kind of neat because it ran on the trail away from me, and I got to go see its footprints and how big of a stride it had, and plus how ripped up the hard packed dirt was from its claws. And it was just a really kind of a cool thing to see. So that was pretty cool. On that note, since it was less than a quarter mile away, I put my food up in a legitimate bear hang, just to keep that guy wild. But yeah, I'll show you camp. It's a little contrived. It's a good spot for like maybe one or two people to cowboy camp, but that's home for the night. Tomorrow is I've been jokingly calling it Operation Don't Toast the Marshmallow. And it's basically the day that I'm going to road walk around the Shelley fire if everything goes according to plan. So I'm going to get up really early, try to do a bunch of that. It's supposed to be really hot, above 100 degrees. So I'm going to try to get up and get a lot of that road walking done in the morning. It's going to be road walking all day. There's no way I'm getting back to the trail or even really back to the woods in less than 40 miles. So we'll see how far I get. It'll all work out, I'm sure. July 20th, almost exactly 6 in the morning, and then my beloved joke about Operation Don't Toast the Marshmallows beginning officially. Sun's about to rise over that mountain range. Very calm morning, pleasant temperature. We got about 2 miles to go down off of the trail that drops back down to the road, which is Route 3. Here we go. So this is Route 3. The trail is technically open, continuing west/north until what's called Etna Summit. However, I believe personally that even though that section's open, it gets you closer to the fire, could be more in the way of the folks fighting it, puts yourself at higher risk, and also, to me, most importantly, if you do screw up and a search and rescue has to come for you, even if you never think it's going to happen to you, you're putting them at risk. So with that in mind, my plan has always been to head north towards Fort Jones and avoiding Etna because, again, from what I've heard, I haven't been there, there's more folks there that are fighting the fire than residents. So again, I don't want to get in their hair. So I'm going to head north on this. I have a whole route planned out. And of course, I'll adapt as I need to, but I think it's going to work out. This ended up being the longest mileage day of the trip, and it was all in the sun through farming land. So I've reached Callahan, which is the first sort of destination along my trip today. So I didn't know it, but there's a general store straight ahead over there. So I got a honey bun and a energy drink to get me going, and I'm about to turn onto East Callahan Road. Continuing on East Callahan Road, I've only been on it for a few minutes, but I just wanted to show that there's a drastic change in scenery. So I went from being up pretty high in the mountains. I think I slept around 6,000 feet last night, and then today has been all downhill, and currently I'm around 3,100. I was looking at the topographical map of this area, and most of my day today, if not all of it, is going to be on the map in a non-green covered area, meaning that there won't be much shade. So looks like I'm about to enter into that kind of terrain because I'm getting into these rolling hills with only semi tree cover on them. But the walk's easy. Got some caffeine, more extra caffeine in me right now. I'm doing good. This is Horn Road, which I'm not going down. But if I wanted to go into Etna, the town of Etna, which is a very popular spot to resupply, is at the base of those mountains over there. But clearly from the smoke and the fact that there's still a big fire going on, I don't want to go in and be a burden on them. So I'm going to continue walking this, which is now turned from East Callahan Road into East Side Road, I believe. And so I'm going to keep walking down this until I get to Fort Jones. There's been multiple helicopters that have been flying. I'm north of where the fire actually is now, and there's still some wisps of smoke and stuff, but quite a ways around it. I'm almost to Fort Jones. But it's been an interesting walk, just seeing all the different types of farming and also with the fire response over to the west. This is the north end of the East Side Road, which I've been walking on all day. And I'm in Fort Jones now, so there's a gas station, and then also there's a grocery store. So I'm gonna go to the grocery store and resupply to get me to Seiad Valley. Well, it's been a while, but I am all refreshed, fed, watered, and sat in some air conditioning while I charged. So I'm ready to get back out for now. This is Scott River Road, and the woods officially begins in 17-ish miles that way. Don't think I'll make it there today. Still walking. It's about 10 of 8. The sun, oh yeah, I'm sure you noticed those deer over there. Sun's starting to go down behind the trees over there, and I'm starting to get out of the farming area and more towards the mountains and the trees and the wildlife. I've been seeing all sorts of wildlife on this road walk. So here's a flock of turkeys. I didn't even see it, but about 10 minutes ago, as I was kind of just brainlessly walking along the road, something pretty close to me moved and went slithering off the road, and it was a decent-sized rattlesnake, the 8th one I've seen of this trip. The last 2 that I've seen, including that one, were both here in Northern California, and both of them were very alert. Like, their body temperature was whatever it's supposed to be to make them so they can think fast, because a lot of the ones that I saw down south, it was cold and they were clearly moving slow. But the 2 that I've seen up here both saw me way before I saw them, and they both like beelined in as straight as a snake can slither line away from me into the thicker brush, so that's good. Well, it's clearly dark, but back into the national forest, which is nice. It's a little after 10 o'clock, and there is a national forest campground down here. I'm gonna go take a look at it. Probably call it a night. It's already been over 40 miles. I'll have to figure out how many it's actually been, but I'm tired. Here we go. So I'm gonna call it a night. So this is the Indian Scotty campground. It is a $10 fee campground. They did say by the bridge that it's closed for evacuation. This area was in an evacuation zone about less than a week ago. However, the gates are open, the water is on, and I know for a fact that this evacuation map is not the current one. It's been reduced twice now. I've been keeping an eye on it multiple times a day. So I unfortunately didn't have enough money to make $10 even, so I put in everything I had that wasn't a 20 or bigger. So I paid $9. So I did what I could. It's not quite the 10, but I'm not just freeloading. I'm actually trying to do things the way they're supposed to be done, because that's how I think it should be. There's a couple osprey that are just up kind of soaring around, hanging out, probably fishing by the river. So here we go. It's time to go from my long road walk up a side trail back to the PCT. And I was just hanging out, eating a snack before I get going, and looking at the guided GPS to see kind of what the trail looks like it does. And it's a way bigger climb than I had originally thought it would be. Makes sense. I've been going downhill for almost, a full 2 days. And the trail is back up around 6,200 feet in elevation above sea level. Right now I'm about 2,500, so almost 4,000 feet of elevation gain in what looks to be about 7 miles, that's pretty steep. It's a lot of up. According to the thermometer in my pack too, it's already in the 90s, so it's going to be a rough climb. That's why the sweatband is on. But there's only one thing to do. And also, on the trail, it comes out to a lake when I get back to the PCT. Probably going to want to take a dip. Woo, that was hot. So I'm back on the PCT. The Kelsey Trail was a lot of climbing and kind of overgrown at the top. Bugs are really annoying right now, but I haven't seen it yet, but there should be a lake right over that crest, and I am going to go cool off in it. This is Paradise Lake. I just went for a swim and I cooled down. However, the floor of the lake is 1 to 2 feet thick of really goopy like muck. So when I was trying to wade out to get to a spot deep enough, I would sink up to almost to my knees, and all that loose, silty mud would be all in the water. So it cooled me down. I don't feel horrifically clean because I had lots of little floaties and stuff on me. So I'm gonna definitely take a creek rinse at some point if I can. But my temperature is better now, and I'm by far done with the hard climbing of the day. I think I gained 1,000 more feet, actually not even, in the next 5 or 6 miles, and then it's all downhill after that. I looked at the next fire update thing, which is the Donamore one, and they've actually considered it 100% contained. So thumbs up to those awesome folks fighting that fire that were able to keep it to 35 acres and get it out. The next known fire that exists currently is just past Crater Lake. So that's a couple hundred miles from here. I'll have to see what it's doing when I get there. But there's a few fires. There's one right there, and then there's one just north of there in Oregon. And as far as I know, I think those are the only 2 closures in Oregon right now. Washington's burning in places too, but that's just so far away that keeping track of it all from here won't be worth the effort. So this one and that one, these 2 deer ninjas, I was just down, you see that little faint path past that skull? 100 yards that way, there's a spring, right? And I'm down there and I look back up here where my pack is, and then I see 2 deer moving in on it. I know they love the salt. So I was yelling, clapping. They didn't care. I ended up having to run up the path. They still didn't care. I had to pick up a small rock and throw it at them just to get them away from it. They had knocked my pack over. They were going nuts trying to get into it. Yeah, you. And you. So now my bladder's down there just kind of slowly filling up out of a pipe, but I guess I need to carry my pack with me. So let's load this thing up. Didn't think I was going to get attacked by deer during my water stop. So here's the pipe and that. And oh, look. 2 megabold deer followed me right down here. So I'm filtering water, and they're still here. So there's one. And I don't know where the other one is right now. It's probably right up behind me. Yep, of course it is. Yep, there it is. They're bold as can be. people have to hand feed them for them to be as tame as they are. They've approached me before where I could have reached out and touched them if I wanted to, but as tempting as that would be, I want to keep them as wild animals because they are. So I clapped a couple times and they just ran back like 3 steps and they keep watching me. So I'm going to finish. I was considering camping here, but there is no way I'm doing that because they are going to be around camp all night trying to get salt or water or whatever it is they're after. Yeah, so it's definitely a salt that they're after. I'm all loaded up with my pack and stuff, but before I had to go, I relieved myself over there, and that one basically came up on me while I was going and is just going nuts trying to get the salt. So that's what they want. I'm about a quarter mile away now, and they're following me down the trail. There's a third one that showed up too. They're the most tame, least fearful I've ever seen. So I actually want to get some mileage between them because I don't like that they're this okay with people. They're going to get hurt.
I got into camp kind of late last night, right around dusk, and ended up cooking and finishing my dinner in the dark with a headlamp. But there were 3 more extremely, whatever you want to call them, tame deer that came in that I was a little more aggressive with. I tried to chase them off a few times just to get them a little bit less friendly with humans. Mainly not because I don't like deer, of course, but it's just I don't want them chewing like crap. So I ended up, instead of just doing a food hang, I ended up putting my entire pack and basically anything I didn't want right next to me in my pack, because the thing, it hasn't rained once, really. I've been sprinkled on a couple times and a couple like 30-second hailstorm, big raindrop type things and passes, but that hasn't been washed. It doesn't rain here, so it's covered in sweat. So if they had their way, I bet they would chew that thing like crazy and ruin it.
Well, this guy was hanging out in the shade. I don't know if you see him moving or not, but a pretty good sized rattlesnake. And I got close enough that he started rattling at me. So, thankfully, that gave me the alert to get the F out of there. See his rattle there? I'm trying to see it in the screen. I can see it in real life. Well, we're going to leave him be. So that was the final and 9th of rattlesnake of the PCT. And that was during a road walk. And I was walking down the road just not paying any attention at all. And I got within probably like 3 feet of him and he started rattling. So at least he let me know. But thanks so much for watching part 8. We're finishing off in Seiad Valley here, and things are going to pick up. First thing next video, we're walking into Oregon. Stay tuned.